Hey everyone, I want you to picture something for a second. You just had one of those nights, your heart's still pounding, the room is warm. You're lying there, skin still flushed, and for just a moment, everything in the world feels exactly right. And then, in less than 30 seconds, it all falls apart. She rolls over and grabs her phone. Or she jumps up and heads straight to the bathroom like the bed just caught fire. Or she says something, just one sentence, and suddenly you feel more alone than you did before any of this started. If you've ever felt that, and I know a lot of you have, this video is for you. I'm Dr. Ava Remington, and I've been practicing medicine for over 20 years, with a focus on men's sexual health and relationship dynamics, particularly for men over 50. And I'm going to tell you something right now that most doctors won't say out loud. What happens in the 30 minutes after sex is just as important as the sex itself. Maybe more important. Today I'm walking you through 7 mistakes that people make after intimacy. Mistakes that can quietly destroy trust, kill desire, and over time dismantle a relationship that took decades to build. Before we get into it, do me a favor. Hit the like button and subscribe if this kind of straight talk is what you've been looking for. No fluff, no embarrassment, just real information. And drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and what time it is. I genuinely love knowing who's out there tuning in. All right, let's get into it. Here's something that surprised even me when I first read the research. A Danish study published in 2023 in the Journal of Sexual Medicine found that oxytocin, the bonding hormone, the one that makes you feel connected and safe, drops dramatically within 2 minutes if either partner reaches for their phone right after orgasm. In men over 50, that drop is even steeper because natural hormone receptor sensitivity decreases with age. 1 second your brain is saying, I love this person. 2 minutes later, if the connection is broken, it's saying, I'm completely alone. That's not sensitivity. That's not being dramatic. That's biology. So let's talk about mistake number 1. You finish and she bolts to the bathroom. Or worse, you finish and you bolt. The shower goes on, the door closes, and your partner is lying there in bed thinking, did I do something wrong? Does she think this was dirty? After orgasm, both men and women go through a neurologically fragile window, roughly 3 to 5 minutes, where the nervous system needs skin-to-skin contact to convert that physical experience into emotional safety. If someone jumps up during that window, the brain doesn't read it as they need to freshen up. The brain reads it as rejection. For men over 50, this hits differently. Testosterone has been declining slowly for years. Sexual confidence for a lot of guys isn't what it was at 35. One abrupt exit right after intimacy can land like a gut punch, even when no offense was intended. And fellas, this goes both ways. If your partner finishes and you react, grimace, make a face, reach for half a roll of paper towels like you're cleaning up a crime scene, she feels it. Every bit of it. I've had men come into my practice with women who reacted that way after oral sex, and those men have not forgotten it years later. Some of them changed their behavior entirely because of one reaction on one night. Stay close. 5 minutes. That's all it takes. You can shower after, but stay in the moment first. Mistake number 2, grabbing the phone before you've even caught your breath. I know how this goes. We all live in this world now where if you don't respond to a text within 10 minutes, people think you've been abducted. But when you reach over to that nightstand right after sex, and I mean right after, your partner's brain translates that as, I just gave you everything I have, and you'd rather see what Kevin from work posted on Instagram. A French study from 2024 tracked over 3,200 couples over the age of 50. The couples who kept their phones in another room during intimacy were 41% more likely to report high satisfaction in their sex lives 10 years later. 41%. That's not a rounding error. That's a massive, clinically significant difference. And guys, before you nod along and think, yeah, she does this, check yourself. Because a lot of men grab the phone too, especially right after if they feel a little emotionally exposed. It becomes a shield, a way of getting some distance when you're feeling vulnerable. I get it, but the cost is real. 5 minutes, eyes open, phone off. Tell her it was good to be with her. You'll feel the difference the same night. Mistake number 3, and this one is genuinely medical. Either not urinating after sex or getting up to do it without saying a word, slamming the door behind you, and coming back 5 minutes later announcing that you're all cleaned up. Here's the health reality. After 50, more than 60% of urinary tract infections in women are directly linked to sexual activity within the previous 48 hours. The medical term for it is honeymoon cystitis. But it doesn't just happen to newlyweds. After menopause, the vaginal and urethral lining thins out, loses lubrication, and the natural protective acidity decreases. Bacteria that were perfectly harmless in younger years now have a much easier path to the bladder. The fix is simple. Urinate within 15 minutes after sex, even if there's nothing there, even a little bit. Research from the European Association of Urology published in 2024 confirmed that this single habit cuts the risk of post-sex UTIs in postmenopausal women by a factor of 8. That's not a minor reduction. That's a near elimination. Men are not off the hook here either. Prostatitis and urethritis are painful, stubborn, and more common after 50 than most guys realize. Going to the bathroom after sex is smart for everyone. But here's what I see destroy the moment. The way people do it. You don't just disappear. You don't come back announcing your cleanliness like you just passed a health inspection. You stay close for a few minutes, you kiss her on the shoulder, and you say something like, "Hey, gonna go take care of something real quick, be right back." You leave the door cracked. You're back in under 2 minutes. You come back and pick up right where you were. Warmth, closeness, skin contact. That's the difference between a health habit and an emotional shutdown. Mistake number 4, rolling over and going to sleep the second it's done. In over 20 years of practice, one of the things men tell me most often, especially men between 50 and 70, is some version of, "As soon as we finish, she turns away, and I just feel like I was used." And women tell me the exact same thing about men. After orgasm, oxytocin and prolactin flood the system. If you break physical contact suddenly, the brain doesn't coast down gently, it crashes. The feeling of "I am loved" evaporates in seconds and gets replaced by "I am completely alone in this bed." For men over 50, who may already be navigating a quieter, less confident relationship with their own sexuality, that crash can be devastating. I worked with a couple a few years back. I'll call them David and Susan, both in their late 50s, married for 28 years. Susan had gotten into the habit after menopause of immediately rolling to her side after sex because she ran hot and just felt physically uncomfortable. David internalized every single instance of that as rejection. By the time they came to see me, he had stopped initiating altogether. He told me, and I remember this clearly, I'd rather not try than lie there feeling like I just failed a test. We worked on one thing. Susan started staying close, even just pressing her back against his chest, even if she turned her body later when he was asleep. Within 3 months, David was initiating again. Their intimacy had completely turned around. One habit, one small physical signal. You don't have to perform anything. You don't have to lie awake for an hour. Just maintain contact until the other person's breathing evens out. A hand on their arm, your knee against theirs. That's all the brain needs to know. You're not alone. Mistake number 5, and this one surprises people. Sleeping all night in synthetic lingerie or tight underwear. A Belgian study published in the journal Menopause in 2024 found that sleeping in synthetic fabrics after sex increases the risk of irritation, yeast infections, and vaginal flora disruption by 37% in women over 50. Think about it. After sex, everything is warm and wet. Sweat, natural secretions, the whole situation. Lace and lycra and tight elastic bands become a bacteria incubator at body temperature all night long. By morning, you're dealing with itching, odor, and potentially another UTI. Men, this one's for you too. Tight microfiber boxers against warm, moist skin all night long raise scrotal temperature, degrade sperm quality, and increase the risk of minor gland infections. The most genuinely intimate thing you can do after 50. Change together. A quick warm washcloth if you're tired and don't want a full shower. Soft cotton pajamas or nothing at all. Skin against skin or cotton against cotton. Simple, clean. That transition from lover to just your person, that softness, tells your partner something that performance never can. Mistake number 6, making a face, pulling away, or reacting poorly after oral sex. I'm going to be direct here because that's what I do. No one is required to swallow, ever, full stop. but how you handle it matters enormously. And I've watched this single issue create irreparable damage in relationships that had survived far bigger problems. The destructive version, pulling away at the last second, making a disgusted face, spitting loudly into a tissue, wiping your mouth like you're trying to get rid of evidence. At that precise moment, the man you're with, even a confident man, even someone who has never doubted himself in his life, hears one thing. What you are at your core disgusts me. For men over 50, who are already navigating the normal psychological adjustments that come with aging bodies, changing performance, and shifting self-image, that reaction can break something that takes years to rebuild. I've seen men stop being intimate with their partners entirely following a single incident like this. Not because they're weak, because that reaction went straight to the part of the brain that decides whether intimacy is safe. The elegant version. You keep a soft cloth or a folded tissue on the nightstand, not hidden away like something shameful, just there. And after you handle it quietly, come right back, kiss his forehead or chest, and say something simple. That was intense. Come here. For men who give oral sex, same principle. Don't wipe your face frantically like you just finished a competitive eating contest. Rest a moment against her thigh. Let her know she's not something to be cleaned off of you. A couple I worked with, I'll call them James and Patrice, 59 and 61, from outside of Atlanta, almost ended their 15-year marriage over this specific dynamic. James had stopped wanting sex because Patrice's reaction after oral sex made him feel like a burden rather than a partner. In one session, we put a simple system in place. Soft cloth, kept on the nightstand, no drama. She handled it discreetly. She came back to him. She said, "I love being close to you." James told me afterward, and these were his words. For the first time in years, I felt like she actually wanted me there. That's the power of a small gesture done right. Mistake number 7, the one I've seen cause the most long-term damage in over 2 decades of practice. And I want you to really hear this one. You're lying there. The warmth is still there. You're both kind of floating in that soft space that exists after real intimacy. And then someone says it. Something like, "That was nice, but honestly, my ex used to really know how to Or, "At your age, I kind of expected a little more." Or even delivered gently, almost as a joke. "Sex was never really your strong suit, was it, babe?" Stop right there. What just happened has a name. It's called verbal castration. And in men over 50, it is almost always permanent. In 2024, a team of neuroendocrinologists at Stanford University published a study using functional MRI imaging on 120 men between the ages of 48 and 68. The scans were done within 10 minutes after orgasm. When a negative or comparative comment was made during that window, the amygdala, the brain's fear and shame center, activated with the same intensity as it does during a car crash. Simultaneously, the prefrontal cortex, which governs rational self-assessment and confidence, went almost completely offline for up to 40 minutes. What that means in plain English: for nearly an hour after that comment, a man is neurologically incapable of processing his own worth rationally. He doesn't hear the nuance. He doesn't hear, "I'm just trying to be honest." He hears, "I'm not enough. I never was." And here's what makes this so devastating. Emotional memory formed in that post-orgasm state is encoded 4 to 5 times more deeply than memories formed in a neutral state. A man can hear, "That was incredible," 100 times. He hears, "My ex did this better once." And he will carry that one comment for the rest of his life. I have had patients, strong men, former military, men who ran companies, men who coached Little League for 20 years, sit in my office and cry over a sentence their wife said to them a decade ago. One of those men has slept in the guest room since 2011. He and his wife still live together. They eat dinner at the same table every night, but he will not be physically close to her because of one sentence on one night. The rule is simple, and it is absolute. After sex, there are exactly 2 categories of words allowed. First, silence. Tender silence, a kiss, a touch, a smile. Second, anything that starts with, "I loved when you," or "I love the way you," or "being with you feels so good," or just plain, "Thank you for trusting me." That's it. If something genuinely needs to be addressed, timing, rhythm, position, something that didn't work, you bring it up the next morning, over coffee with gentleness and forward motion. "Hey, I read something about this that I think we'd both love. Want to try it? Never in the 30 minutes after orgasm. Never as a comparison. Never as a critique dressed up as casual conversation. I had another couple. I'll call them Michael and Carol, both in their mid-50s from the suburbs of Chicago. Carol said something offhand after Michael had a less firm erection than usual. Wow, I guess this is what 60 looks like, huh? She meant it as a joke. Michael heard it as a verdict. He stopped initiating. For 14 months, their marriage became completely sexless. By the time they came to see me, Michael had started to believe there was something fundamentally wrong with him. We rebuilt it slowly. The first thing Carol learned to do was this. After every moment of intimacy, she took Michael's hand and said, "I feel so safe with you." That's all. 4 words, and it changed everything. So here's the short version, your takeaway list. 1. Don't flee to the shower or make a face about fluids. Stay close for at least 5 minutes, then go wash up together, or one at a time, with a quick "be right back." 2. Leave the phone in the other room. 5 minutes of real eye contact is worth more than 10 years of hoping your relationship fixes itself. 3. Go to the bathroom after sex. It's a genuine health habit. But tell your partner where you're going, be quick, and come back and pick up the warmth right where you left it. 4. Don't roll over and go cold. Keep contact until the other person's breathing settles. A hand, a leg, your forehead against their shoulder. Something. 5. Ditch the synthetics. Cotton or nothing. Warmth without the petri dish. 6. Handle oral sex with grace. Have a cloth ready. Be discreet. Come back. Make your partner feel like they're the most wanted person in the room. 7. No comparisons, no critiques, no jokes about performance. Ever, especially in the 30 minutes after sex. If it needs to be said, say it tomorrow morning with kindness and a plan. Do these 7 things starting with your very next intimate moment, and I promise you, within a month you will feel a shift in your relationship that you haven't felt in years, maybe decades. Because here's what I've learned after more than 20 years of doing this work. After 50, the best aphrodisiac isn't performance, it isn't stamina, it isn't anything that can be measured or compared. It's emotional safety. It's knowing that when you show up, all of you, the whole aging, complicated, imperfect human being, the person next to you is glad you did. If this video hit home for you, here's what I want you to do. Drop a heart in the comments and tell me which of these 7 mistakes you've experienced, either made yourself or been on the receiving end of. You will find out fast that you are not alone. Thousands of people are sitting with the exact same thing, and just knowing that helps. Subscribe and hit the bell. Every week I give you concrete, honest, zero embarrassment information to help make your 50s, 60s, and 70s the best years of your life, in and out of the bedroom. And share this video with the person you're sleeping next to tonight. Sometimes one person becoming aware is all it takes to change the whole dynamic. If you've got a question that's too personal to post in the comments, something you're not ready to share publicly, check my profile. I read what comes in, and some of those questions become future videos, because if one person's asking, I guarantee 1,000 more are wondering the same thing. Take care of yourself, and take care of the person sleeping next to you. I'll see you in the next one.